Hey, what's shaking, dudes and dudettes? Brad the Guitarologist here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to convert an old console stereo system into Bluetooth. If you want to be able to Bluetooth your phone or what have you to the stereo system, you'll be able to do this. And what it's going to take is a little board for Bluetooth. We'll add that, and we also need a little power supply for the Bluetooth. And that's pretty much it. The stereo system that I have in mind for this conversion is what I think is a very, very late 60s or early 70s Magnavox. This one just happens to be solid state, but all these old Magnavoxes for the most part have an unused auxiliary input. What I'm going to do is use RCA because I think these are all RCA on these old units. Another thing you're going to need is a spare cable of some kind. If you have one like I have that has the RCA inputs for the auxiliary, all you need is a stereo RCA cable like this. We could actually get a couple of cables out of this, so I'm just going to cut this one directly in half, just like so. Okay, so we only really need half of this. Now, these boards for Bluetooth, I think I bought this board. This is the last one that I have in my current stash. I bought a bunch of these back in like 2018, I think. And I still have this one left. So I've done some projects with these boards in the interim. I think I got like 5 of them at the time, and I did some for customers, and I did 1 or 2 for myself. And this is the last one I think that I have left. It's maybe 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, something like that. Actually, instead of guessing, I could just go ahead and use calipers and tell you exactly. So this thing is about 30 millimeters by, should be about 30 millimeters. 30 by 30. Yep. It's about 30 by 30 millimeters. And in inches, it's about almost 1.2 inches. So pretty small board. In addition to the board, you also get in this little package, you get a 470 microfarad capacitor at 10 volts. And you also get a little LED. We have some connections over here on the side, and this first one is an in left and an in right. That's audio input. And then you have an audio ground, then you have a no connection. Then you have output left, output right, and then audio ground for this connection. Then you have 3 no connections. Then you have your LED connections, and then you have the power source connection here after this no connection, the ground and the volts input right here on these 2. Then over here we have some controls that we will not use. Not sure what EN means, but we have a volume up and down if you wanted to use those controls. And then you have a couple other controls here, including a common. So that's what you get on the board. There's the version of this board. I don't know, they might have updated versions of this board. I will put the most up-to-date version that they sell for this that's still reasonably priced down in the description and in a pinned comment if you want to pick one of these up for yourself and do a project like this. This is a good way to convert like old radios and other old equipment to be able to use a Bluetooth functionality with. Let's get a helping hand and do some soldering. So my helping hands have been forever requisitioned as a robot. My youngest daughter and I made this little guy one day, and I haven't had the heart to tear him apart. So you have to just deal with this. But that explains why there's a Bisquick box in the background here. The way to think about this properly is that the signal is going to be originating from your broadcast device, whether that's your cell phone or whatever. It's going to broadcast to this Bluetooth board. This Bluetooth board will receive the signal, and then it'll come out of this board and then into the amplifier. So we're going to use the outputs on this board. That'll be these right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to strip back these wires here, and we'll have 3 leads. We'll have a left and a right, and we'll have a common ground. And this is very nice actually, because it has the wires color coded for me. I don't even have to put them on my meter to test them. I know this one is the this will be my left and this will be my right. I don't know, what are you? Are you a red right or are you a white right? Because those do rhyme, so it could get confusing, I suppose. Tell me down below. Red is, do you do red for your right? Now, of course, this wire is shielded, so we won't have to worry about any shielding or anything like that, but we do have to solder these grounds together. So you kind of have to be a little bit careful about that, and don't overdo it because you'll end up melting these other two wires. We're going to pre-tin these leads to make them a little easier to deal with. There you go. That's good right there. Should be good. You just want to make sure you don't leave any stray wires, I should say. Now, like I said, we're going to need a 5-volt power supply. This little 5-volt power supply will go from about 110 up to 220, and it will convert that into 5 volts DC. So it's a regulated power supply. Here's your 120 volts on this side with the 2 red wires, and then the red and the black on this side are the 5-volt DC. Okay, so on this board for the LED, the longer leg of the LED is the positive leg. So we will put our longer leg through the positive side. If we wanted to run wires and strategically place this LED somewhere, we could do that. But I think I just want to put the board itself somewhere where maybe we can see the LED. So we'll either do that, or with this the LED, you just won't be able to see it. There's that soldered on. Now let's do our power supply. We need to put our 5 volts into here, and our black is going to be our ground. All right, and then we just have the outputs left to do. We're going to take the cable that we just cut and wire it in to these outputs. I forgot this, which needs to go on the power supply. So this is the negative, so it will go toward the negative side for the ground. Now this may or may not be necessary, I honestly don't know, but it probably won't hurt anything. Alright, it ain't pretty, but it's what it is. It's there. Alright, so we've got the LED, make sure nothing's touching here. Clean up a couple of these wires, make sure none of them get against anything. Okay, alright, this should be ready to go now. I think anything all the way down to 5 volts AC will convert, or a little bit above that. I think you might even be able to use the 6.3 volt and it will convert to 5 volts, and it would actually be easier on the... I think you can do that. That's actually a good question, and I want to see how low you can go. And we'll test that out right here on the variac. Let's see how low you can go with this and still get your 5 volts. All right, so this is going to be our voltage going into the power supply, and then coming out of the power supply we'll be measuring right here in DC. And we'll start out low. All right, we have our 5 volts up when we're at 40. Let's back down a little bit and see how low we can go. 32 volts, and we still got about 5 volts coming out. 27, 25. Okay, about 25 volts is the cutoff. You probably need at least 32 volts going in. But anything from about 32 all the way up to 220 is going to give you a regulated 5 volts out. So that's all looking good right there. And the LED is indeed blinking. So that's telling us it's ready to pair. We should actually, right now, it will show up on our cell phone. If we wanted to test it, we could. But I really don't see the need, quite honestly. We'll just we'll go ahead and run with this because I've had nothing but luck with these boards so far. So I'm pretty confident it's going to work. Let's just go ahead and put it in the unit. We need to find our input voltage. We need to find our 120 volts for this side. And then we also need to find our auxiliary input for the amplifier. Okay, here we are on the back of this Magnavox. This one has an auxiliary plug back here for 120 volt AC. And this is actually switchable. So when you switch the power here, right here, that switches this on. So what I've done here is I've spliced into it and come off to this little unit, and that's where we're getting our power. And as soon as we turn the unit on, we will get Bluetooth. So if I turn it on here, then it starts searching for pairing. And it just paired with my phone already because I've already paired with it. So yeah, man, she's ready to go. I just got to button things up and I'll demonstrate what it sounds like. It could use a preamp. It's not really loud. I have to crank the amp to get it. You know, it gets fairly loud, but it could still go louder. And a preamp would go a long way toward helping with that. I do have a bunch of little preamps. If I wanted to come back in here later and add one, I should be able to do that fairly easily. I would then have to splice, I think I would have to pull some voltage from somewhere. I'm not sure what they require, those little preamps, but I think they run on 5 volts too. So I might be able to just pull 5 volts from here on this side. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it if necessary, but let's button this thing back up. All right, guys, that'll do it for this brief tutorial on how to turn any old console stereo into a Bluetooth device. Hope you've enjoyed. For now, we'll see y'all later.